Hi there, this is Catherine with Enfolded Heart Music. Just a quick word to let you know that the most recent Lyre album, Butterfly Dream, is now complete and is available. Both the music album and the sheet music are available for purchase if that's something that you're interested in and a way that you would like to offer some support. They're available as the entire album, all 8 tracks or all 8 pieces of music, sheet music, or individually if you'd like to just buy 1 track or 1 piece of music. There's links for that through the different channels that I will include in the description below. So that is now available. It's all done. So if you've enjoyed the music that I've been releasing these last couple of months, about 4 to 6 months, I can't quite remember, but since the fall, if you've been enjoying those and are able and would like to offer a kind of financial support for the work that I do and for that those particular songs and that particular album, then just know that it would be very much appreciated and a great help for me. Again, as I've often said, it does add up, so even a small purchase does make a big difference for me, as it does for many artists and many people who do this kind of work. So thank you for those of you who have at any time offered financial support in that way. It's very much appreciated again, and thanks for those who have already done so for this album. You really have my gratitude for that. Of course, all forms of support, I sincerely mean this, that all forms of support are very, very much appreciated. Those who listen to the music even, or leave a comment, send me an email, those things are really, really wonderful. It is the reason that I do this. It's meant to be a gift to you, a little word, a little sacrament, a little vehicle of God's love for you and his care for you, for me, for all of us. And so if you are receiving the music and it's been a source of prayer or contemplation or just time of peace and tranquility with our Lord, then that is all that I really aim to do, and the service that I aim to provide in the work that I do here. So thank you very, very much for receiving the music. And thank you to those of you who leave comments or send emails. It really does make the communal aspect of this sharing kind of come to life, whereas it just wouldn't if you didn't reach out in that way. So thank you very much for that. A little word for a kind of behind the curtain or behind the scenes comment about financial support in general for any artist, not just myself, but for any artist. If you are utilizing something like Spotify or a lot of times even YouTube or Apple Music or Amazon Music, any of those sorts of things where there's a really large platform and you are paying through those platforms, Spotify, Amazon, etc. If you're purchasing or downloading something from there, and you're doing so because you want to support the artist, know that it is most likely that there's a very, very small percentage that is actually reaching the artist. That's just because there's a lot of different avenues that the music has to go through before it can reach Spotify, for example. And so everyone has a little bit of percentage that they take, and the artist gets what's left over, which sometimes can be 50 cents for a whole album, just to give a little bit of perspective there. So if that's not something you're aware of but would like to be aware of, I was in that position a couple of years ago. I didn't realize that when I was buying something with the intention to have the music, but also to support the person who works so hard on it, and who has that skill and talent and has, again, put a lot of work and time into it. I didn't know that I was only giving them 30 cents or 50 cents. I thought I was giving them $8. But just so you know, that's not usually the case with those platforms. So my encouragement, again, for any artist is to find if they have a website where they have their own store, or if they're utilizing something like Patreon or Bandcamp, things that are really focused on the artist themselves or set up by the artist themselves. It's most likely that they are going to get a much larger proportion of that. It'll be more like 75 or 80 or even 90% of whatever it is that you're actually paying in order to receive that music. So if you go to their website and they have links to other places, that's where I would purchase the music. Again, if you're purchasing in order to try and give a little bit of support and help them out in the work in the ministry that they do, whatever that may be. So just a little bit of a behind the scenes. It's something that maybe a lot of people don't really know about or think too much about, but just, again, a little behind the scenes in case that's of help to you. This video is kind of in two parts. The second part is going to be focused on those who want to play these songs. So before I switch into that, just another word of gratitude and thanks for everyone who has received and enjoyed these videos. I, again, hope that they continue to be a gift for you. Share them with others if you think they're a gift to them, but more than anything, again, just want to say thank you, and I hope they continue to be something that you enjoy and appreciate and like to receive. So I'm going to switch now to, again, those who want to actually play the lyre music. Just a couple of things for you to know about this particular lyre album, the Butterfly Dream album. The first thing to note is that if you have a 16-string lyre, you may have noticed that I now have a 19-string lyre. I've got 2 extra strings at the top and 1 string at the bottom. And what I have done is, because I know that a lot of people have a 16-string lyre as opposed to a 19-string or more than that. And so what I've done for these pieces is on each song, wherever it goes into a place where a 16-string lyre can't go, so it goes up to that high B or C, or it goes down to the low F, I have written in alternative notes for you. You'll see them in the pictures on the shop page. You can see, if you scroll over, you can see that there's some in parentheses, and I've got a little note at the top that kind of explains this, but those are the alternative notes that I've written for those who have a 16-string lyre. So I just wanted you to know that you do still have access to the songs if you don't have a 19-string lyre. Of course, they're going to sound a little bit different. They're going to be different notes, but I have written them not just as, another note that you could play, but I've really tried to make them as musical and as beautiful as possible for the 16-string lyre. So that's available to you. If you have any questions or you're confused about the notation of that, again, I've tried to make it as clear as I could think to make it, but if you're confused about that, please reach out, let me know. I'm happy to get back to you and kind of explain that for you. The second thing that I want to mention is just a little bit of a fun fact about this album, and something that maybe has helped to you, particularly if you play for other people in whatever context. If you play for others and you play the lyre, know that all 8 songs on this album, and also 4 other songs on the Whispers of Beauty album, they all have the same lyre tuning. They mostly stay within the keys of A minor, and C major, and of course they dabble in other very closely related keys, such as G major, things like that. But I did this so that if you're practicing or playing, you don't have to retune any of the pegs on your lyre in order to play any of these songs. So you've got about 12 songs that you could play without having to touch any of that. It's something that I found really helpful for myself, and something I plan to continue to do in future lyre albums that are similar to this and to Whispers of Beauty, for example. But again, just a little fun fact for you, and something that might make it a little bit more attractive as you're learning these pieces and you want to know what it's going to be like for you to actually play all of these. So you got 12 songs. It's about half an hour's worth of music if you were just to play them straight in a row. Maybe a little bit more than that, but roughly about a half an hour of music where you wouldn't have to change those pegs. So that's the second thing. The third, there's sort of 2 parts to this. The first part is just to note that the Butterfly Dream album is, the music is a little bit more difficult, technically speaking, than Whispers of Beauty, and certainly than Singing with David. Singing with David, and any of the scripture songs that I have had in the past or will have in the future, those are intended to be a particularly easy access for people who don't know a lot about music or who don't play the lyre very much, but they want to use it as a form of prayer, as a little accompaniment to their singing and to their prayer. So those are at a very easy, accessible level, as much as I can with the verses that I'm working with. So that's my intention. I'll keep doing that, making those very simple. Whispers of Beauty is the next step up. You have songs that are about 2 to 3 minutes long. You've got the left hand that plays in many of the songs, if not all the songs, certainly most of them. They play the same rhythmic pattern in 2, 3, maybe 4 places. So it's not moving a whole bunch. Usually it's going between 2 places and then kind of goes up to a third for a small part and then comes back down. But it is written in such a way that it can kind of go on autopilot while you're focusing on the right hand. And that just makes it more accessible, especially if you're not coming from either any instrument or a 2-handed instrument. It's going to be easier for you. The Butterfly Dream album, in sort of contrast to that, while it does have several songs that have the left hand in a very repetitive rhythmic pattern, they only stay in 2, maybe 3 positions. There's also a lot of songs that has more than 1 or 2 rhythmic variations and goes in many different places on the lyre. So that makes it more challenging, technically speaking, and also the songs are more of 3 or 4 minutes long rather than 2 or 3. So they're longer, they have more parts to them, and so they're just going to be a little bit more difficult to play. So that's just to give you a scope if you're thinking about getting it, but you're not really sure if it's a good fit for your skill level at this point. Just know where it sits in relation to some of the other pieces that I've walked through and that I've released before. The final thing, which goes along with the most previous thing I said, is that I will be doing tutorial walkthroughs just like I've done with almost all the Whispers of Beauty songs and a number of the Singing with David songs. So if you're not familiar with these, essentially what I do is I go note by note through the entire piece. It's intended for you if you need somebody to walk with you through the music. Maybe you're not great at reading sheet music, or you're just having trouble. Some of them have kind of tricky rhythmic patterns. And so you can't quite hear it from the recording and read the sheet music and kind of put those two together. So it would be helpful to have someone kind of talk that through. So I talk those sorts of things through. I outline the different sections of the piece, how to think about it, how the different parts go together, and some suggestions about the way in which to practice something, especially if it's, again, a sort of tricky part. So I'll be doing those for the Butterfly Dream album. And I'll probably do those in more than one part because they're going to be longer for the reasons I just mentioned previously, because they're more difficult pieces. But if you've got a preference or a request of a particular song from Butterfly Dream or from Singing with David, because I didn't do the majority of the lyre pieces from that album, you're most welcome to voice that in a comment, in an email, wherever I can find it. And I'd be happy to take that into consideration as I think about the different tutorials I'm going to make and in what order, those sorts of things. So don't be shy about voicing that. It really is helpful because, again, I do these tutorials to be of help to you. So if there's one where you need help, then I don't know unless you tell me. So please voice those if you have a request of that nature. So I hope that you've enjoyed the pieces. I hope that you do enjoy them if you do purchase the sheet music and follow along with the tutorials, all of that. I hope that it's great fun for you, and I hope you're enjoying the lyre of whatever stage that you're at. And if you have any trouble with something, whether it's downloading something, accessing something, figuring out a certain rhythm, or understanding notations, you're most welcome to reach out to me, and I'll get back to you as soon as I can via email. So thank you so much. Again, I hope you enjoy, and may God bless you and the peace of Christ be with you.